Okay, she's gonna first tell us. Okay, go ahead.
So someone must have dared her to take a trip by plane. So she did. She came up because at that time the airport, Kansas City Airport, was still at Fairfax, or closer into town. And I can still remember watching her get off the plane, and she was wobbly on her feet.
Oh boy, I
But
bet.
she did, and that was during the war, honey.
Oh yeah.
So she was a feisty gal. If if she hadn't been the kind of a gal she was, she wouldn't have survived
Yeah.
her childhood.
Yeah.
And I remember her also telling that, Uncle Shia was about 6 years older than she was. And of course, when she got older and started going out with boys, Uncle Shia used to run and tell Zeta Coleman, what kind of boys she was running around with. Just like a big brother. And she didn't forgive him for ages. For ages. And also, when she was coming over here to this country, she wanted Uncle Shia to come with her.
Oh.
And he wouldn't leave his wife, his young wife. She was a pretty young woman. And Zeta Coleman liked her. He liked her. I had thought she was called, Uncle Shia's first wife was called Schliemann.
Schlima.
Schliemann, And I couldn't imagine, was that a formal Yiddish or Hebrew name, or what was it? So finally, Zeta Coleman told me that was just her nickname. Her full name was Batsheva.
Oh really?
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
And I guess from childhood.
Yes, it's a great name. Batsheva.
Daughter of Sheva. Daughter of seven. Ooh, that's one of those mystical things. Kabbalistic name, don't you think?
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Sure. Sheva is seven, right?
Right. Batsheva.
God is daughter
Well,
of seven.
you know who the original Batsheva was?
Yes, David's King David's
Lovela.
Was she,
illegal. She was
not of the Jewish faith, right?
Well, that
Wasn't
has
she
always puzzled
Hittite
me.
or some other kind of tribe?
Well, she was
Oh.
married to a Hittite. Her first husband was
who David sent off to
Uriah,
war.
was a Hittite, but he was in David's army until David
Had him whacked.
cast his eyes on Bathsheba taking a shower.
Yeah. That Batsheva, she must have been a looker.
A little sleaze.
But I never knew whether she was the Chumash doesn't say whether she was an original Hebrew or she was a Hittite like Uriah was. And also, what has puzzled me too? Maybe you have heard, Bruce. Were converts into Judaism at those ancient times, did they have to go through a regular initiation procedure, or they just came into the clan?
Well, I think all males had a bris,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of the age.
Yeah, that was traditionally observed. Although I had read, or I heard it someplace, I've forgotten which, but there were years while our ancestors were in Egypt that they didn't practice circumcision. There, when I think, if I remember what I read, that it wasn't until Joshua let the Hebrews, they crossed the river and finally got into Canaan, that they had a grand bris.
All the uncircumcised men got done at once.
There's
I can't imagine all of that anguish in one spot. All of that misery.
Maybe that's what turned the Red Sea red.
But you know,
pain.
one of King David's ancestors was named Tamar, and I think she was a Canaanite.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wasn't Tamar one of the? Wasn't she one of the midwives? Wasn't Tamar one of the midwives?
There was, I think, Penina
Oh, yeah.
and Shifra.
That's right. That's right. Well, you're telling us about the Mima and the Russian.
Oh.
You said her mother died when she was like 9 or something. Yeah.
And then Russia joined when the the First War broke out. If I remember, Russia joined Germany against the Allies. And then, of course, when the Russian Revolution broke out, Russia dropped all the affiliations with the German side of the war because they were having their revolution, and they bumped off the Bolsheviks or communists. They were the same, Rotskin, the same evil person, crooks, like the communists were. But the Bolsheviks, I think, were an earlier group of revolutionaries, and because Auntie Esther had told us how the Bolsheviks were, although people thought that maybe the Bolsheviks were maybe not quite as ruthless as the communists were, and they both groups were fighting each other to see who was going to get the upper hand to rule Russia. Well, she said one time when the Bolsheviks had the upper hand, there was something that the people were clamoring for. They had starvation in the country at that time, and the Bolsheviks kept giving the people all kinds of excuses because they weren't coming up with anything better. The people were starving, and Auntie Esther said there was one time when a whole group of people found out there was a train of Bolsheviks coming to their area. They laid down across the tracks.
Wow.
So the train would have to stop, and the people could talk with the machers, to tell them what their needs were. And she said they knew that they couldn't get the attention of the Bolsheviks any other way because their voices were going to dead ears. So a huge amount of very many people just laid down across the tracks.
Jeez.
So that the train would stop and the people could talk to them. And also, and remember Auntie Esther telling that she was already in her teens. She just turned 13 or so, and the revolution was finally wearing down, and people were dying, like flies, from starvation, from typhus, and I think Auntie Esther got typhus too, because what the it must have been the communists at that time had gained control, and they were having the people who were Nedogadach on their deathbeds, and there was quite an outbreak of all these horrible diseases that get started when there's an upheaval. They used, if the authorities thought that people were on their last leg, they'd have them taken out like to a death house that was away from the rest of the hospital, and send the teenagers to stay with the people till they died. And that was how she started out her teenage years, having to stay. She said, of course, she was scared to death of that till she got used to it, but had to stay with Nedogadach, the people who were on their deathbeds, to stay with them until they died.
What a horrible thing to do to a kid.
Particularly to a young teenager. So Auntie Esther did not have it easy. And then, when after the war, she moved over to the Romanian side, because the area where our people lived, after one war it was Russia, and after the next war it was Romania.
What's wrong?
You're hearing something, honey?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, she thought maybe things were going to be better in Romania, so she stayed in the area that became Romania, and she lived there on her own, excepting that when my mom found out, that Ankadach during the First War, our families were cut off. Things, particularly when the Russian Revolution came along, all correspondence stopped. People didn't stay in one place, and the families here lost track of their families in Europe. Well, when the war things finally settled down, Mama found out that Auntie Esther was still in her teens, because she was only 19 when she came over here. So she must have been about 16, 17, 18, something like that. She'd already lived through her teenage years in that horrible time. And my mom decided that it was more important to bring Auntie Esther over here first, and then Zeta Coleman. Of course, Baba Fagin, Zeta Coleman's wife, the one, I'm named for her, and Fannie Balo was named for her, and Florence Balo, although her mother, Aunt Jenny, didn't want another Fannie, and so she called her Florence. But Uncle Abe's daughter Florence was named for Zeta Coleman's wife, my mom's mother, Uncle Dave's mother, Fannie and Ruby's father's mother, and she was supposed to have been, Auntie Esther was an image of her. She was an image of her mother.
Really?
It's fantastic. You would have thought she was a clone.
Really?
My mom said the same thing. But see how, I have been so sorry that my mom wasn't born or even raised in this country, because she had such remarkable talents. She would have been a natural dress designer. She would have been a natural seamstress. She had such native psychology. But so she realized that Auntie Esther, being a young girl with the hectic times that were over there, it was, and as much as she loved her father, and she dearly, dearly loved him, but she thought it would be more important to bring Auntie Esther over here first. So that's, my mom used to make regular trips to Uncle Abe and to Uncle Dave and pick up their allotment to save to money to buy a ticket for Auntie Esther to come over here. And that's what she did.
She was the youngest of.
She was the youngest, and she was also, you know, the only sister my mom ever had. She was her kid sister, and they were 10 years difference. My mom and Auntie Esther were 10 years apart. So she brought over Auntie Esther together with my mom, and of course Papa and Uncle Abe and Aunt Jenny and Uncle Dave and Tante Heike all pitched in to bring Auntie. Something tickles him about Tante Heike.
My father's nickname for her.
Oh, Auntie Smiley. Yeah. Well, she used to be very pretty when she was younger. Because, you know, she was just 17 years old when she and Papa came over here. And would you believe, you wouldn't believe this, but you know, Papa was always a very laid-back guy. You would never imagine him raising his voice or being rambunctious. But when they were coming over, and Papa was just 19, you know, my father was a draft dodger, you know. And I had uncles who were draft dodgers too, but who wanted to go
for World War One?
For World War One. Papa came over here.
Yeah, right.
Papa made it over here 3 years just before the war broke out in Europe. But Papa was a draft dodger. Uncle Dave Balo, Fannie and Ruby's father, was a draft dodger. Uncle Morris Balo.
More than that, they were a country dodger. It was like, let's get out of here.
The only one who had to end up serving in the Russian army, for which he paid, he paid for it, was Uncle Abe. You know, my mom's oldest brother, the redhead, the Reuter. He had to end up serving in the army, in the Russian army, and as soon as he got out was when he and my mom and Auntie Esther Partnoy, who was really their aunt, but my Zeta helped raise her, you know, came over here. So
That's Mark and Martine's grandmother.
oh yeah, right, Auntie Esther.
Portnoy?
Yeah, that was the.
Uh-huh.
And it got changed to Porter.
Porter.
Oh yeah,
Portnoy to Porter.
right. Uh-huh. Her mom, honey, was my Zeta's sister that he helped raise.
Her grandmother.
Yeah,
Her
Auntie
grandmother.
Esther.
So Ann Porter is that woman's daughter.
Yes.
And Porter,
Who's-
yeah, and
who's
Martine.
Martine's mother.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Good, honey.
Besides, you know, our family is really so, the Yiddish term, geknippt, knotted and gebinden and so wound up. You really have to be raised in our family to understand the family connections, because Annie Porter and Martine's mother was really a half-sister to my Zeta, because their father had married two sisters. So, but according to Yiddish reckoning, you know, children who are from the same father are considered full brother and sister. So,
Oh, I didn't know that.
oh yeah, children from the same father. So Zeta Coleman's father was Zeta Itzik Labe. Itzik is Isaac, Labe is like Laby.
Lion.
He married two sisters, and Auntie
He married two women concurrently.
No.
Yeah.
He married one, she passed away, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
he was obligated to marry the other?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that he was obligated, but he.
Is that how it happened?
He did. Yeah, he had two children.
How do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but that's when a woman whose husband dies, then the brother of the husband is supposed to marry.
Oh, right, to take over.
Right, but
Where's
this is
right.
something different.
Okay, I had it at Futsikimmen.
Well, anyway, Nedugadacht, my great-grandfather, Zeta Coleman's father, Itzik Leib, married two sisters. From his first wife was Zeta Coleman and Shlomo Shochit's mother. You know, the Shochits,
Yeah.
Jacques Shochit's mother, Jacques Shochit's Bubby,
Ah.
was a full sister to my Zeta Coleman.
Ah.
They were from the first wife,
Okay.
the first sister, Zeta, and it was very customary for a man to marry a sister if the sister.
See if he goes back to sleep.
Oh, you can sure hear him.
Well, we've got the monitor on.
Oh.
Should I go see if he's in the corner?
I don't like her.
You gonna go?
Anyway, honey, so when Zeta Coleman's father, Nedugadacht, lost his second wife, who was the mother of Uncle Morris Balo and Auntie Esther Portnoy and the Lansman, you heard of the Lansman, and there was another young child who was Auntie Esther's age, Gietel.
Oh, and she's the one who we just reconnected with her kid who's from California? No,
No.
that's somebody else.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Anyway, my Zeta Coleman, took into his house to raise his widower father with all the young kids. And he already had his widowed mother-in-law living with them too.
Wow.
And you know, they had 3 rooms,
Oh, wow.
right? And that was the way it was. So Zeta Coleman ended up raising his young sisters and brothers.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Oh,
That really is something.
mm.
Let's see, how are we doing here with the battery? We're still okay.
Anyway. So that's how and my mom was raised with Auntie Esther Portnoy. They were like sisters. And I used to feel,
He'll settle down, hopefully.
anyhow, you missed out on the part I just told Karen. When my Zeta Coleman
Who I'm named for.
father, Nedugadacht, lost his second wife, my Zeta took into his house his widower father and the father's young children. There were about 5 of them.
Which were his
Wow.
half.
And he already had his widowed mother-in-law living with him too. And they had 3 rooms.
Did he have any kids yet, Zeta Coleman?
Oh, sure.
So there were.
Uncle Abe, my mother's oldest brother, the Reuter, the redhead, had an uncle younger than he.
Wow.
Uncle Morris Balo was younger than Uncle Abe, and Uncle Abe was his nephew.
Isn't that funny? It's funny how they.
And
See, men, they can do that kind of thing.
and
Yeah, that's why you have gauchers.
Yeah, right.
And I remember my mom telling too that her Uncle Morris Balo, Esther Levinson's father, was the same age as Uncle Dave, Ruby and Fannie's father.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's second brother was the same age as Uncle Morris. My Zeta had siblings from his father's second marriage, who was also his father's second marriage was his aunt, was my Zeta's aunt too. My Zeta had siblings the same age as all of his kids. So, and I remember my mom telling that Uncle Morris particularly, she said, loved their mother, Baba Fagin. She was really his sister-in-law, but she was raising him. Mm-hmm. And my mom said there were times he'd forget himself and he'd call her mama, mother. And in Europe, when a boy turned 13 and had his bar mitzvah, which wasn't an elaborate affair, they just called the kid up to the Torah, and he said his portion, and the family just served some whiskey and a kichel, and that was the bar mitzvah. So Uncle Morris was, I think, by that time 15 already, and he was already in the family business, which was cattle dealing on both sides of my family.
Cattle stealing?
Cattle stealing. And so one time...
Cattle thieves and
Yeah.
drought dodgers. What a colorful family.
Yeah. One time he came, and they used to go, Zeta Coleman and also Papa's, Zeta Velho on Papa's side, they used to go out along the roads in between the little shtetl that they lived in, buying and selling cattle, and then coming home just for Shabbos. And
Was Jacques' grandfather a shochet? Is that how he got the name Shochet?
yeah, the great grandfather. The great grandfather.
But he was a skach?
He was
slaughter?
a shochet, right?
Wow. So
Right,
there's the
that's
origin of the name.
That's how they got their name.
Cool.
Right, shochet, And anyway, Uncle Morris Balo one time came in from his weeks out on the highways, came home for Shabbos, and Baba Fagin, Zeta Coleman's wife, my mom's mother, had cooked out a batch of mustard, because in Europe in those days, which is like over here, there wasn't anything store-bought. Mm-hmm. You had to make everything your own. Well, she cooked out a batch of mustard for them to have and left it in a top, in a pot, cooling on the window sill. And to him, it was yellow, and he used to love these little yellow plums that they used to have around. And as a matter of fact, I can remember my mom cooking those out too, because they made such a delicious compote. Well, Uncle Morris liked the compote from those little plums, and he saw this cooling on the window when he came in from his week on the road, and Baba Fagin wasn't around. She was some other place in those 3 rooms, and he grabbed a spoon and dug into that.
Had the shock of his
just
life.
about had a conniption, because not only was it still hot, it was still strong.
It was still mustard.
That was one of the stories. And my mom used to also tell how it used to be her job, being the oldest daughter in the family. She had to put lime on the floor for Shabbos, because you know their floors were earthen floors. They didn't have any wood floors, or sure no carpeting. But for Shabbos, they used to whitewash the floor so that at least you wouldn't have a dirt floor in your house for Shabbos. So it was my mom's chore every Friday for Erev Shabbos to whitewash the kitchen floor. Mm-hmm. And invariably, not only did she have two older brothers, you know, but there was Uncle Morris too, and a Landsman. You heard the story about the Landsman. And she said invariably it was either one of her brothers or one of her uncles who would come traipsing in. And she said every Friday afternoon she cried. Because there was always somebody messing up her Shabbos floor.
That's sweet.
And then another story she used to tell, you know, girls at that time, they had one dress for the whole week, and then a newer dress, you know, for Shabbos. Well, one time my mom got to thinking that her Shabbos dress was getting a little tacky, and she wanted a new dress for Shabbos. I think she was already a teenager. And Zeta wouldn't hear of it, Zeta Coleman, because all the money he was able to make, he needed for his family.
Sure.
So Zeta Coleman didn't think that she needed a new dress for Shabbos. He didn't see anything the matter with, and my mom wanted to start, and also the dress that she wore during the week was beginning to wear out too.
Sure.
So anyway, she finally enlisted her mother's aid and told her mom that maybe she could talk to Zeta Coleman and get him to give her money for a new dress, and she could make it herself. Our mother was very talented with sewing. And as a matter of fact, she paid for her Russian lessons with sewing for this young Jewish tutor who lived across the way from them. Mm. So he gave her Russian lessons, and she sewed for him. Hmm. So that's
barter system.
That's how she learned to
got a lot of what they needed.
Read and write Russian there. Anyway, so Baba Fage finally got Zeta Coleman to give permission and give money to buy material so Mama could have a new dress for Shabbos. Wow. Don't get me started.
Well, we're going to save this tape, and the next time we'll continue on the same tape.
Or you could consult Todd.
I can consult Todd. Did he tape you also?
Todd's going to want a copy of this.
Some of it he took down on
audio tape.
A little audio. Mm-hmm. And then last week when he came over, just before he went back, the little audio cassette wouldn't work, so he wrote down. He had to write a lot of this down. But I'll tell you, I used to hear these stories day in and day out because
all those people were living with you.
Oh yeah. Oh,
in this country, in Kansas City.
3 years after Mama and her brothers brought Auntie Esther over, they were able to put together money, and my mom did the same thing. She used to make regular, I don't remember whether it was every week or every couple weeks, she'd go to Uncle Abe and Uncle Dave and take their allotment and save the money, and then they brought Zeta Coleman over. Mm-hmm. But you have no doubt heard the story about your mom when she was just about a year or maybe just a little bit older, a year and a half or something, when Auntie Esther came over, and she was sitting, Mom was in the high chair, and Auntie Esther was feeding her, and Auntie Esther put one or two legs on the rung of her of Mother's high chair, and Mother, God bless her, you know, she even spoke her mind at that time. She fussed at Auntie Esther and told her to get her feet off of her high chair.
At the ripe old age of a year and a half.
Yeah, she was a year and a half. It was, oh, and she was so cute. She was so cute. And of course, you've seen that picture that my mom had taken of us with your mom was 3 years old at the time Zeta came over, and she was wearing that darling little blue silk dress my mom had made for your mother, and what isn't of course noticeable on the picture, but your mom had cut a little slit in it, and my mom had to sew up that darling little dress.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but of course, and Mother was just 3 years old
Jeez.
at the time Zeta Coleman came over, and this little dress was just darling. I can remember it because you know I'm 6 years older than Mother, so it was
Karen's mother, for those of you who will be watching this tape. This is about Eva now. Okay, guys.
Yeah, she was so cute, and she was such a little spitfire. She was such a little spitfire. And
She was named after an airplane.
Spitfire.
yeah, you know who she's named for?
The airplane was named after her.
That's right.
Your mom, and all of our precious children, so long lebendige Gesundheit, your long, healthy, happy lives are for our precious children. So what was that?
It was a nice benediction.
You were so busy giving everyone a gesundheit.
Oh yeah.
was
What
about
in the
Eva.
world?
We were
was-
talking about the Spitfire.
Oh,
Wasn't she-
F3.
Oh, you know who she's named for? She's named for Jacques Scheuchit's aunt,
Oh.
who's, of course, Jacques Scheuchit's Bubby was Zeta Coleman's sister.
Oh.
So that's how. And the Landsmann, you know, married a niece. He married the daughter of that same sister that was Jacques' grandmother.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
Everyone always calls him the Landsman.
Who is this Uncle?
He was also my Zeta's brother, but he was from the second wife, whose mother, you know, was a sister to my great-grandfather's first wife.
I know, how does
I'm
she,
lost.
isn't it incredible that she has
But
all
that-
this straight?
I'll sort it out one day.
Don't forget, honey, I was in the house, and when Zeta Coleman was over, he and my mom were talking about these things every single day.
Yeah.
You know, they always talked about the shtetl and the life that they led there, and I heard these stories a zillion times.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll finish. Oh.
No rush.
Oh, no, but it's getting late. But you know,
I can
Hi, Katie.
drive if you wanna, whatever you want.
Oh, I can drive her back.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I think our battery's going dead.
Is it?
Yeah.
what is your Katz's name?
Pumpkin.
Oh, really? Pumpkin.
All right, we're losing the battery here. All right, we're going to continue this, and another time.
Also, this reminds me, do you all take,
I'll just let it go as long as it'll go.
It may be recording funny. We'll have to check it.
Bruce,
Yeah.
do you all have a camera to take pictures of Mr. Ezra?
Oh,
and
yeah,
his-
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we've got a lot of pictures.
oh,
of
I'd
them.
love to see that.
You know, I
Maybe
need to send pictures to people.
Where are those pictures?
I gotta
Those
call.
most recent
I gotta call a
ones?
bunch of people too.
Oh, I'd love to see
to stay in
those.
touch.
Where are the most recent ones? Maybe we'll give her one to
Did your mom take
take
them?
home. No. I'm gonna turn
Um,
this off now.